Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. Yeah, it looks like our Pitt coach, Coach Scaraduzzi, wants to change the rules to stop the Vols because the Vols are unfair, and he wants to go to the Rules Committee and make some changes. You know, just when I thought I was done with Coach Scaraduzzi, he's back. Yep. First, he tried to creak us on the tickets. You remember that. Now he can't handle our offense. You don't even have to play us anymore, Coach Scaraduzzi. You shouldn't be scared. I think what he's afraid of is that it's going to catch on because people love it, and it's very exciting, and I think that's the deal. And him being a defensive coach, he hates it because he wants to be able to change his defense based on how the offense is set up, and he can't do that. So we're going to get into this. We're also going to talk about several other things that are going on. A couple of transfer portal guys will be making their decision tomorrow. We'll discuss that for a moment. We're going to talk about 4 players on the Tennessee team that got named in the ESPN Top 100 in 2022. You'll recognize these names. We're going to talk about the Vols TV ratings for their games this year, which were mammoth. I'm talking the Vols are a very popular team, not just with our crowd. There aren't enough people in the state of Tennessee for these kind of ratings. I'm telling you, the entire country likes the Vols. And we also need to talk about the Vols basketball team. This team is on fire. I mean, they just roasted South Carolina in their home court. You don't do that to another SEC team. They doubled their score in basketball. Over 40-point victory. I don't know that I've ever seen that. That is just crazy. I mean, we didn't play some silly school, you know, from State Polytech, you know, Little Sisters of the Poor. No, this was South Carolina. You know, they're supposed to be a decent team. So we got to talk about that too. There is just a whole bunch in this show. It is action-packed, and I'm going to put it all together in something that's manageable. So let's get into this. All right, first of all, we've got 2 transfer guys that we're very interested in that are going to be making their decision tomorrow. Starting out with Dante Thornton, who is a 6'5" wide receiver out of Oregon, a kind of a freak athlete type guy, and the Vols are very interested in him, and he's going to make his decision at 1 p.m. tomorrow on the 9th. So that's going to be real interesting. Also, we've got another transfer portal guy, Davon Sears. I covered him yesterday. He's going to make his decision tomorrow. So 2 big decisions in the transfer portal, and he's a big defensive lineman. Also, R.J. Perry, who is a transfer out of UT, who is an offensive lineman, has decided to go to USF with Alex Golish, which I think that's pretty cool. You know, he obviously knows the player knows him. That makes perfect sense. Now he'll have a good chance of getting on the field, which I think is a good thing. So there's a lot going on in the transfer portal tomorrow. Now, ESPN has named 4 Vols into the top 100, starting out with Jalen Hyatt. He is ranked number 6, so he is in the top 10, and I think that's a reasonable number for him. Next is Hendon Hooker, you know, one of the best quarterbacks we've ever had. He got ranked 12th, which is a little high, but the reality is he got hurt. He would have been top 10 for sure had he not gotten injured. I think he would have had a real good shot at the Heisman. He would have certainly been in New York, not been – that was ridiculous that he wasn't in New York. Give me a break. Byron Young came in at number 82, and he had a real nice Orange Bowl. And, look, he got focused on a lot this year trying to stop him, so I think that hurt his numbers a little bit, but he's going to be in the NFL, no doubt. And then number 88 is Darnell Wright, who he may be first-round draft pick. I think that's, 88 is too high. He should have been in the 50s, somewhere in that neighborhood, because I really think he's going to go first round. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. He had a great year. Now let's talk about the ratings for the Vols football team. In the Orange Bowl, there were 8.6 million people that watched that game. That is incredible. This was a non-playoff game, a regular bowl game. It was the best standalone New Year's Six bowl, no doubt, since 2017. I'm telling you, the Vols offense is just, it's so popular. I've got friends of mine who are Auburn fans. They watch the Vols because they're just so much fun. And those numbers are up double digits over 2019, 20, and 21. So there you go. And I was looking back at our ratings during the season, 4.5 million at Pittsburgh. That's not that big a game, but 4.5 million watched it. 5.5 million watched the Florida game. 11.5 watched the Alabama game. And listen to this, 13 million watched the Georgia game. When the Vols are on TV, eyeballs are on TV. Now, before we get into the whole Scaraduzzi thing, which I've saved that for last because I get angry and then I get my blood pressure up and it's not good. Yep. So I put that at the end. So by the time I'm done, I won't be all ticked off. But the Vols basketball team is on fire. 85-42 against South Carolina. Are you kidding me? In their own gym. Not at Thompson Bowling, in their own gym. 85-42. That is not a typo. That is reality. They beat Mississippi State 87-53. I mean, just stomped them. I don't know what's going on with this team. I mean, they're playing incredible defense. And having Triple J back, James, is definitely, look, I've told you folks, I think he's the glue of this team. He's really important. And it's not that he has like these crazy flashy numbers. It's just he does everything well, and the guys are real comfortable with him. You know, he's only playing like 18 minutes since he's, trying to rehab this knee. But he's just a real important cog in a very well-oiled machine. And some of the South Carolina players were like, they play at a different level. He's like, they're just like so linked. He said they move as one. They're like the Borg. I think they're like the Borg. I noticed that Olivier has been 15 for 15 in field goals the last 2 games. 5 for 5 and then 10 for 10 against South Carolina. And that's another guy that does everything well. He doesn't flash huge numbers. Well, he did in this last game, but normally he's got his 10, 12 points, his 8 or 10 rebounds, plays fantastic defense, very tenacious. And we've just got a bunch of great players that are all playing well. They're all scoring about 10 points plus. Vescovis, he's scoring his 15 points. I mean, it's just all down the line. Everybody's playing well, and they're just – that game was ridiculous. If you watched it, it was over in the first, 5 minutes. I think this team's got a real good shot at being a Final Four team. They've certainly got the talent, and they play as a team, so it could happen. They play great defense, so we'll see what happens with them this year. But now let's get into Scaredoozy. And this is an article on A to Z Sports. It says Pittsburgh head coach Pat Narduzzi, I call him Scaredoozy, but they call him Narduzzi, has a rule suggestion that would be disastrous for Josh Heupel's offense. I bet he does. He talks about how college football quarterbacks don't have headsets in their helmets like quarterbacks do in the NFL, which means it has to be called in from the sidelines doing various hand signals, etc. And you folks have seen that. And it gets a little crazy over there, between the bed sheets and all the lights flashing and everything. Actually, looks kind of like this. It says teams do all they can to mix up the signals, use dummy signals to prevent the opposing team from decoding them. It says coaches are still paranoid when it comes to opponents trying to steal their signs. For that reason, and that's the reason that Narduzzi has advocated for speakers in the quarterback's helmets. He said, but I'm going to put a little caveat with that. I'll bet you are. He's concerned that if college quarterbacks get a speaker in their helmet, the offense will move too fast. For that reason, he would want a rule in place that states the ball can't be snapped before there are 25 seconds left on the play clock, except under 2 minutes. And here it says Narduzzi, a longtime defensive coach, before he became a head coach, said offenses already dictate tempo and would go even faster with headsets. So he has a radical idea. Use headsets, but bar offenses from snapping the ball before there's 25 seconds. He said, then we can actually huddle on the offense, huddle as a defense like they did in 1912, and now we can talk to the Mike linebacker and give a defense. And we can go back to the 1970s. And now all of a sudden we have a real game, not all these offenses that are just ridiculous, which is what he's really saying, that we can't stop. But there's not much hope. The NCAA Rules Committee has shown no willingness to slow down offenses. Still, Narduzzi said he will suggest the change to the committee this offseason. So all he wants to do is go back about 30 years, and that's just great. That's what everybody wants to see. We can be like Major League Baseball. Never change anything, never change a rule. They finally fixed the baseball, so it's a little bit better, and they're starting to get some of their audience back. If you don't change with the times, at least some, your sport's going to die. And that's what's happened to Major League Baseball. And football has been the opposite. They've made the changes, and it's the most popular sport in the world. People can't get enough of it. NFL, college football's through the roof. And the Vols are the most popular just about. And here it talks about Narduzzi and Nick Saban. It said Nick Saban has a lot of influence in college football, and Saban proposed a rule back in 2014 that would have prevented offenses from snapping the ball until there was 29 seconds on the play clock. That rule proposal got tabled. says, as long as teams have trouble defending tempo, we'll hear proposals like this from Narduzzi. So fortunately for me, I was able to get my hands on a secret video, and it's Coach Narduzzi, or Scareduzzi, talking to another coach. Now, this other coach, we've pretty much determined, is from the SEC. We're not sure who he is yet. We're working on it. We've got a team of technical assistants, scientists, everybody is grinding to try to figure out who this other coach is. We haven't been able to do it yet. But here is that secret video of Narduzzi and the other coach. And the other coach actually has a screen across his face. That's why we have no idea who it is. But we think he's an SEC coach. Well, hey, Coach, how you doing? Yep, it's Narduzzi, not Scareduzzi. That's Sports Talk Jay. Ooh, I'd like to get a hold of him. Look, what are we going to do about these Vols? This fast-paced offense is ridiculous. I think I've got a plan to stop it, but I wanted to see if you'd help me out with it. Well, Coach, what are you worried about? You don't have to face them every year like I do. You're already done with them. You've had your 2 go-arounds. Did you see what they did to us up at Neyland? It's ridiculous. I know. I tried to stop them with only 400 tickets down in the lower level, but they wound up with like 15,000. These crazy fans love this up-tempo offense. We have got to stop it. It must be stopped. Don't you think I've tried that? I already tried that 5 years ago. I've already been down this road. It's the college football presidents and the networks. They love this high-energy, fast offense. It's getting unbelievable ratings. They're making tons of money. Did you see what they got for that stupid Orange Bowl? Like over 8 million viewers? Are you kidding? It wasn't even part of the playoff. It was just some bowl game. I just think there's too much money in it, Coach. You know, believe me, I tried to stop this 5 years ago. I tried to make it at 29 seconds. It's not, they just won't go for it. Well, here's what I'm thinking, Coach. I'm thinking I use that speakers thing in the helmets as a end around to get this stopped. I call it Operation Stop the Vols. I'll pretend like this will make the offense too fast, and then I'll pull it down to 25 seconds. They can't snap the ball until there's at least 25 seconds on the clock, which will allow me to move my defense around because I'm afraid this is going to spread. Well, Coach, I admire your tenacity, but I'm telling you, college football is going down the drain. First, with all the transfer rules, now college football players are getting paid. There's not enough money in college football for that. I only made $12 million last year. I had to do a bunch of commercials just to be able to get by.
Affleck.
Tell me about it, Coach. I'm only making like $6 million a year. I can barely scrape by. We've got players transferring to other teams. They're getting to play. They're making money. Dogs are living with cats. It's anarchy. Well, Coach, I've got to go do another ribbon cutting at a Mercedes-Benz dealership that I own. I just keep adding them. I've got to make more money. I don't know what else to do. Good luck to you. I wish you the best. All right, Coach, thanks for talking to me. I'm counting on your support, okay? We've got to stop the Vols. All right, folks, so you heard it right from the horse's mouth, what he's up to, and it's all about Operation Stop the Vols. So that's pretty clear. Now, like I said, we've got a team of scientists. We're going through DNA analysis, all kinds of technical analysis on the video to figure out who the other coach is. We have kind of determined, we think he's on the West Division of the SEC, but we're not sure. I initially thought it was Lane Kiffin because that would be right up his alley, but he's not going to want to slow down the offense. So I've kind of eliminated Lane Kiffin. So that leaves us like, a few choices. And, we'll figure it out. It may take, a day, 2 days. It might take a week or a month. Who knows? But we will get to the bottom of who that other coach is. All right, folks, and I just wanted to bring that charming news from the Pitt coach who, as he desperately tries to stop the Vols and anybody who wants to run an offense similar to it. It does surprise me. I thought we were done with him, but, it obviously bothered him to no end what we did to him up there in Pittsburgh, and I can understand it. He did everything he could between tickets and all that. But anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover the Vols, the SEC, and, of course, Pitt. And if you haven't subscribed, I know a lot of y'all watch my videos and you don't hit the subscribe button, but it's so easy. It's free. It's right here on my left. Just hit that little button. Just boop. It's all you got to do. It's so easy. And right over here, YouTube put a little video that they think you'll like. It's pretty popular. It's one of my most recent ones. And I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.